Brisbane HYROX is 14 weeks out and this is day one of prep. That was a fun little workout, a lot tougher than it looked. It's only 7 exercises all up, but it was really, really tough. Today is day one of the prep for Brisbane HYROX, and I'm putting absolutely everything into this prep. Not taking any shortcuts when it comes to training, nutrition, everything's geared towards just doing the absolute best on the day. I can't expect you guys to watch me do these things if I'm not gonna give it 110% each time. And if you take anything away from this video, it's just whatever you enjoy doing and you want to be good at, give it your absolute all and do all you can. So training for the next 14 weeks, I've spent many hours already just planning it out. It's 14 weeks worth of training. I'm going to be doing 4 weight sessions a week, 3 HYROXes and 3 runs. Some weeks I might only do 2 HYROXes depending on how the body's feeling. But it's super important you do have the correct programming, especially when you do have that big goal, competition or something in mind. That's when coaches like myself or programs and that come into the play. So for me now, I'm going to go refuel, focus on good nutrition, we'll touch on that a little bit, and just recovery as a whole. Now for me in 2026 and this prep in particular, the biggest focus for me is the dieting side of things. Now it's always been the hardest thing for me, probably is for you too. The dieting just sucks. Yes, the training sucks at the time, but the dieting is a whole lot worse for me and a lot harder to do, especially when you start including things like the weekends and that in there. So I really want to focus on getting lots of whole foods in. I feel my best, I perform my best, I recover my best when I am doing these things, and just makes life a whole lot more enjoyable. But being all in, I've got to focus on this stuff. I'm not all in if I'm not. So that for me is going to be the hardest thing, but it's going to be the biggest focus for me. So what that means is a lot less eating out and mostly eating at home. It's going to be more salads, fruit salads, just things that I really enjoy. But like I said, whole foods, full of nutrition. And something else I'm also doing is protein fasting. So I'm only doing it for the calorie restriction. It just helps me a lot more stick to being in the calorie deficit, and why my volume's a bit higher and my intensity's a bit lower, I want to make the most of that and be in the deficit. So what that means is once it hits around about midday, that's when I'm going to have my first meal. Before that, I'm probably only going to eat a couple hundred calories of protein. Then once it hits midday, that's when my day of eating actually starts. What this means is I can have more calories, more food after that 12 o'clock period up until I go to sleep, which makes it a lot easier to stick to the diet. Days when I do have bigger workouts like HYROX and that, so on Wednesday, I got an early HYROX. I'm only gonna have a gel or something there just to get the blood sugar up. And Saturday, I go a little bit later for HYROX, so I'm gonna have a full meal beforehand, but only 400 or 500 calories, just get a good amount of protein and a good amount of carbs in, again, just so I can perform in that session. So I'm gonna smash my chicken salad, sandwiches, and then we'll be on to the next session where I'll touch on a few more things. Now I'm on to my second session of the day. So I'm on a treadmill here. I'm going to probably spend about an hour on it, and I'm aiming to do a zone 2 cardio session. So my heart rate's not in a high zone 4 or 5 like HYROX puts me in. It's a little bit easier, less fatiguing thing. Since I have started HYROX, one of the biggest things I have neglected is this zone 2 stuff. I used to do a lot of it, and now I want to bring it back in, especially being further away from competition, because as I touched on before, I want to do a lot more volume and focus on building that engine. So my goal is around about 5 hours a week, not including my run. If I include my run, probably about 6 hours a week of this zone 2 stuff. And that's gonna be great for, like I said, building that engine, making sure I can last through a full HYROX, getting them big workouts in, and just being a lot fitter and having a good aerobic base. And the best thing about it, it does add volume to my training. Obviously 6 hours is a lot of training for zone 2. But because it is that lower heart rate stuff, it's not as fatiguing. So I'm gonna mostly get this done through treadmill work and on the bike. So the best thing about that, still use my phone, have a read or something like that, so I can do 2 birds with 1 stone basically, which is obviously a big win. Now, as you can see, I'm having a conversation here. So if you don't have a heart rate monitor, this is what you'd say the torque test is. If you can have a conversation and still do whatever you're doing, not be out of breath like this and really breathing heavy, then you're probably in around about a zone 2 level, which is obviously what I want here. So like I said, moving forward, definitely want to get about 5-6 hours of this in a week, maybe even building it up over the next few weeks, just so I can build a big, strong aerobic base and engine. That is my hour done on the treadmill. Actually didn't go too bad. It went a lot faster than I thought it would, so that's always a win. Looking forward to doing more of that because it's going to have great benefit, as I mentioned. Now, I know I touched on mindset a bit already, but I think it's way too important not to touch on properly. As I said, I am all in on this prep. Not Monday to Friday, great, and then Saturday, Sunday off the rails, or one day a week I have a cheat day, blah, blah, blah. I'm all in, and saying that, I mean it. That means everything's going to be done to the best of my ability. I'm sure there are going to be times where I might stuff up, but my mindset is I'm all in and I'm doing everything I can to get the best result possible. If I show up to Brisbane HYROX and I haven't done the work, haven't focused on the correct things, then that's not confidence. It's just being delusional. And to be honest, that's what excites me the most about this prep. I know it's going to suck. I know it's going to be hard. I'm going to be tired for many, many weeks probably. Waking up early, getting them double, maybe even triple training sessions in, sticking to the diet when I'm starving, whatever, feeling super fatigued and that. I know things are going to get super hard, but it excites me a lot because I know every single day I'm going to get better on this prep. That is exactly where I want to be, and it's how I know the goal is right for me. I'm going to be documenting every part of this prep, the highs, the unfortunate lows which will come, just all of it. For some, it might just be another competition prep, but for me, it's much, much more. So if you're lucky enough to have something that challenges you, that excites you as much as this excites and challenges me, commit to it fully. Give it your absolute all, because we're only going to get a certain amount of chances in life to do things like this, and unfortunately it can be taken away from us a whole lot faster than what we think it can. And the beauty of life is none of us are going to make it out of here alive, so make sure you give it your absolute all while you're here right now. I'll catch you in the next one.